are they? Oh, thank God. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Okay, I'm Brad Jones here with Laura Luke Jones. We got a few movies up here tonight, but first we got to do our hour's worth of promoting stuff at the very beginning of it again. We almost started right at 7 o'clock tonight. It's never, and it's always me, too. That's the reason why it usually starts like 10 or so minutes late. Because I was like, wait, where's my water? Where's my,
I forgot my water.
Oh, see?
No.
Now, we can share, honey. My water is also your water.
That's marriage.
Yeah.
I forgot my water.
Double check and make sure. Okay, there we go. Would you like me to go get you some water, honey? If
no,
you want,
I have my special hint water, the one with like the pineapple hint in it.
Hint? Is it like hint, go get it for me?
No, I mean, I can go get it, but I feel like that would ruin the show.
If you want, you can. It's ruined. It's all ruined now. I'm not reviewing these movies anymore.
Why don't you go ahead and promote things and I'll go
If you want, you could just take this empty Celsius can
No.
I have right here and... Yeah.
Go ahead and promote
Just
things.
take my pea can.
Go ahead and promote all your stuff. I'll be right back.
All my stuff? Okay. Well, I should wait for you to get back on at least one of these. Anyway, it's just me and you in here now, folks. As it was meant to be. Just us. Oh, see, that wasn't very long.
Yeah.
I didn't even get through the whole sentence, let alone promoting 18 things.
It's a labyrinth through this whole apartment.
It's huge, right? It
See,
is
my hint water.
It is kind of a labyrinth to make your way
Promotion,
through the garbage that's in here. You got your hint water. I got my McDonald's water. I didn't get water at McDonald's. That was just the cup that was nearby, and I threw some ice and some water in it. Okay. All right. So go ahead and, while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to us at youtube.com/Stone Gremlin Productions so you can see all the updates and get the notifications for when we do all of our live streaming, when all of our new videos go up. Follow us on Twitter as well at The Cinema Snob. And I did a little thing earlier to go ahead and kind of tie into the movies that we're talking about tonight. So I actually put up a poll that was just out of curiosity, like, oh, okay, which one do you guys think will like best between Annabelle Comes Home, yesterday, The Dead Don't Die? The Dead Don't Die won by 45% with Annabelle coming in last. So we'll go ahead and find out if you're right on that one. There's one movie that we're talking about tonight that's really bad. Really, really, really bad.
Soon you'll find out.
And you'll find out which one it is. So, okay. And when you subscribe to us as well and get the notifications and everything, you can pop in our chat, because our chat goes on even before we go live. You see Ryan Walters in there, Holly Blue Agitated talking in there before we ended up going live. So there's always like a community of people there just kind of shooting the breeze with each other before we end up turning the cameras on and just rambling for hours on end before we actually get to the movies. Plus, check as I can see someone already here has, in between the reviews, we take a look at the Super Chat questions. We read the Super Chat questions as well as the Super Chat comments as well. We always do that in between the reviews. And as we said, we got 3 movies coming at you tonight. There's the latest Annabelle film, Annabelle Comes Home. Also, the Danny Boyle comedy yesterday. And the Jim Jarmusch zombie comedy, The Dead Don't Die. And honestly, I really only have one thing to promote here, which is that we released the trailer for our upcoming movie, another Cinema Snob movie. That's up on our channel right now, so please give that a watch. If you haven't seen the trailer yet for our film, it is posted up on our channel, youtube.com/Stoned Gremlin Productions. It's the first time any clips or anything of the movie has been shown, other than some of the still shots. So please, by all means, check out the trailer. Pass the trailer around, give it a look, and I really hope you enjoy it. It also has the release date for the film as well. And since that's really the only thing we got to promote here, let's go ahead and take a look at a clip from the first movie we got tonight, which is Annabelle Comes Home. Why don't you go ahead and take this one, honey?
This is the one movie I didn't see, which is why I want to get this one out of the way. But I want to say, like, this trailer, though, not for Annabelle, but for another Cinema Snob movie. Please watch it.
Oh, yeah.
For me. Just watch it, please.
Like, I'm going to disagree. Be like, you know what? Well, yeah, you're in it.
Just like,
you're in the trailer.
Please, like,
please,
my boobs together.
Please. Watch it, or you won't get me any more hit water. So yeah, okay. So Annabelle Comes Home. Now, here's one that honestly kind of could have gone either way going into the film, largely because a lot of the Conjuring the movies in the Conjuring universe, there's a lot of them that I do like quite a bit. Namely, the two Conjuring movies themselves. Outside of that, they could be a bit hit or miss, especially like the Annabelle series. You had Annabelle, which we didn't care all that much for, but the prequel movie that kind of goes along with the Ouija prequel, where it's like, hey, you could have a horror movie that's not very good, but the prequel film might be really good. So now here with the third one, Annabelle Comes Home, well, this one could go either way. Like, I enjoyed that in the trailer, what it looked like was like sort of like simultaneously an Annabelle sequel and also like a Conjuring 3, because Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as the Warrens are in a lot of the advertisements for it, and that's what this movie has to do with, is them getting the Annabelle doll, which we've seen in previous films, and then taking it back, keeping it in that little protective glass cage that it's in. It's all taking place in the Warrens' house, and you see a lot more of their haunted memorabilia and items that they have in that little room where they keep all this stuff in. But the Warrens themselves really just kind of bookend the movie. What the movie mainly is kind of like this universe's like Goosebumps in a way.
Oh, really?
Sort of, because this is all taking place with their daughter.
Oh, I can see why.
You kind of see what I'm going with? Their daughter, played by McKenna Grace, who's a really good up-and-coming actress. She's their young daughter, and the Warrens are just away for a night or a couple of days or something like that.
Yeah, go ahead and stay in her haunted house.
It is their hope. Don't worry, they have a few locks on the door. I'm going to get to that in a second. But, like, so the main characters in this movie are, of course, the daughter, as well as the babysitter, who's actually, that's kind of funny because she was the star of Goosebumps 2. The blonde on the far left.
She was.
Yeah. So she's the babysitter, and then they have a friend of theirs that's also there, the girl there in the middle. So it's like this 70s horror movie. It takes place in the 70s. The 70s horror movie, like babysitters getting stalked in the house because see, here's what you do when you're in a house in which there's several spooky things in a room, let alone the Annabelle doll sitting there. There are several scary things going on there. I don't know, just break in and start messing with stuff.
Whatever you do not go in this room. Of course, like a 16-year-old girl is gonna go in there.
You know what? As funny as it is that she goes in there at first and is messing with stuff, kind of like, oh, doop-de-doo, like on this haunted typewriter and everything, I will say, as the movie goes on and you find out more of this character's backstory, aside from... The main girl? The girl I just showed. This is like the friend of the babysitter who... Oops, no, not Annabelle. She's the one who goes into the haunted room, starts messing with stuff.
Yeah, that's in the trailer.
Yeah, and she accidentally leaves the case open that Annabelle is in, and Annabelle's able to get out. Because what Annabelle is, it's like a conduit that kind of summons or brings forth all of these evil spirits that are around her. It's not... Same in the other movies. It's not a Chucky situation or something like that. It's more that this is a thing that kind of harvests any kind of evil entity that's around her. And so, yeah, it's not like she's the Black Devil doll from hell going
Right.
around, wake up, bitch, and shit like that. Oh, I had to go with that. Off the top of my head, I of course had to go with that one as a classic example of a killer doll movie. That's an old Cinema Snob episode. So
I didn't see that one.
I do like that's a really old one. I do like that the more you find out about this girl, the one who kind of is messing with stuff, and her motives for doing so. Because you're right, it makes sense that curiosity would probably get the best of some teens in the 1970s
Right.
to want to look at a lot of this stuff. But the reasons that they do actually give her for doing a lot of this, even though at first she seems kind of playful about it, it makes sense the more that the movie goes along, because she's suffered like a very big loss in her life. And it plays...
Why would she still want?
Because she wants to communicate with a relative of hers who's
Is it kind of like Hereditary, where like?
It's more that someone really close to her died.
Well, that was like in Hereditary, remember?
Yeah. But I mean, they play out differently. But and she wants to. She feels guilty about how this person passed. It was like a car accident, and she feels personally responsible.
Just like Hereditary.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Although it doesn't show, it's not quite as graphic. But like,
is this an R or PG-13?
It's an R.
Okay, that's good.
But it's certainly, out of all of these movies, it's certainly kind of a soft R because of the tone of it certainly is like, it feels like a haunted house at a carnival with these girls going through there, and this Annabelle doll has unleashed all of these other evil things that are in there, like the ferryman spirit, this hellhound dog that's outside, this haunted board game and things like that. Just all of these spirits going through this house. The girls can't leave the house because the hellhound is outside, and it does feel like kind of like a carnival attraction a little bit as they're going through this house. And there's all these...
it is a museum in real life, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a house and that room is in there. I don't know. I mean,
I think it is a museum.
It is, but I don't know what the setup of it is like in real life versus how it's portrayed in this movie.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Like, I know that Annabelle in real life is a Raggedy Ann doll, which they do have a Raggedy Ann reference in this movie when they're watching it. They're watching like Raggedy Ann and Andy on TV or something like that. But so there's certainly some things about it that some problems that I've had with a few of the other movies in this universe are also like kind of here as well. Meaning there are really clever set pieces in this movie. There are I mean, let alone with Annabelle, the doll's a striking image in and of itself. But there's creepy imagery like that. They do a lot of good. You saw that in that clip that I used, where there was that color wheel over the light, and every time it was showing over the doll, there was a different shadow appearing over it. I do really like that. They do a lot of creepy stuff in the daylight in this movie. I enjoyed that. That was refreshing, especially after something like The Nun or a lot of these ghost movies where a lot of it's, nighttime foggy. And there is that in this movie too. But there's creepy stuff even in the daylight too, where the two girls are outside talking. In the background, she sees like her dead relative looking in the window. They do one cool part where there's a spirit going past the windows and then past the mirror as the camera's kind of doing a 360.
Yeah.
This part with this board game, there was
like a Ouija board? Or?
No. It was. Have you ever heard of this game? I'm wondering if it. I've never played it, but I was watching this movie, going, well, I guess it probably exists. It's like Feely Peely or what? What? I'm gonna pop up. It's a board where there's holes in there. You pull out a card. I've got the chat up.
Well, maybe
actually,
someone will answer us.
Yeah.
But...
where there's holes in this box and you pull out a card, and if the card has like a key on it, you stick your hand in there and try to find the key, like Feely Peely or
I could look on my phone, but I don't want to do that like on
But it looked
so.
like this old Milton Bradley game or something like that. So you see like arms coming out of it at one point. There's really cool things with this like haunted old TV in the film that's like showing the girl's reflection, but a few seconds before she actually does it. Like there's cool things like that about the movie, and I liked that a lot. It does have a few problems that some of the other movies have as well, which is like while a lot of those set pieces are really good, and the setup for the movie is too, and it's clear a lot more love and thought went into this movie than like La Llorona. But like Curse of La Llorona, there's a lot of those ghosts, like that ferryman that I just showed with the coins on his eyes, and this killer bride that's in it, where a lot of them can be kind of interchangeable with each other. Like they have good backstory, like Curse of La Llorona. It's a good backstory and something you could make something really cool
like
out
the
of. The execution.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, the execution in La Llorona was just like you have this really good backstory. Same with the nun, but you just kind of use it to just kind of scream at the camera and do things like that. In this, there's characters like that, like the dude with the coins on his eyes, and a few others where that seems to be their function, where they're there to kind of move past the camera, scream at it, and do other things. But what sets this movie apart from something like Curse of La Llorona and The Nun, The Nun was, I thought, slightly better than La Llorona, only because The Nun was at least kind of stylish. This one, though, while that's certainly that kind of criticism I have of it is there, I had a lot more fun at this movie. I actually really, really enjoyed the hell out of this film.
Yeah, I asked you, like, hey, how was the movie? You're like, no, I actually really liked it.
I did. I really liked it a lot. Like, in fact, of the ones that aren't The Conjuring, this I thought was by far and away one of the better ones. It's way better than The Nun. It's way better than Curse of La Llorona. Way better than the first Annabelle movie. And I liked the prequel, Annabelle Creation. I liked that, but I had a blast at this movie. Just watching these ghosts just mess with these girls in this house. What I actually think, it's gotten to the point where it's like, it's kind of adorable because I love how they take Annabelle to the premiere of the movie.
That is kind of cute, yeah.
I really like that a lot. Like, and I love Annabelle, like, showing up in other universes, like the DC universe.
Oh, right.
In Aquaman.
She was in, you didn't see it, she was in Shazam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was like, was that Annabelle? And you're like, I didn't see
Probably, yeah.
It was.
I must have been looking away when that happened, but...
Was Ouija a part of that universe, too?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. The only ones I've ever seen were Conjuring and The Nun, I think. That's...
Yeah, because you were at The Nun with me.
Yeah, what other ones are there?
There's Curse of La Llorona, Annabelle, Annabelle Creation, this one... I
guess those are the only two I've seen.
Yeah,
it's a good idea for a universe because it is an interesting
Feely Mealy. Thank you, John Blues. Feely Mealy. Yeah.
It's a good idea for like a franchise. Like it is an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Because it is creepy. Like I used to actually look up this kind of stuff with that couple that do this.
The Warrens.
Yeah, the Warrens. And it is interesting, so...
They made a good point, too. Shazam's from the director of Annabelle Creation. What I really did like about this movie is that, like, it's goosebumps bumpsish in a way. Because, like, they've unleashed this thing that's causing all these other creatures to go after them. But it does it in a wildly entertaining... What was interesting about this was, like, it was thoroughly intense. Like, the cinematography is really good, and they're really matching this 70s feel that the movie has. It feels like a good throwback to an old 70s horror movie where some babysitters are getting stalked in the house.
Oh, I love 70s movies.
Yeah, you'll really like this.
That's like my favorite decade.
Yeah, I mean, you'd really like this, because this movie has a lot of fun with that. I also like that, like, it mainly feels like the ghosts are just trying to screw with them. Not so much that they're trying to murder them, necessarily, they're just messing with these kids. And a lot of them do post striking images. The thing like the Hellhound is kind of not the best effect of the world, and probably could have been a little bit more subtle. But other than that, I liked that this movie actually has a lot of heart to it. Mm-hmm. Like, by the time it gets to the end of it, and the Warrens bookend everything, and you really get to know more about this where is she? This girl. God damn it! This girl. My pictures are haunted. This girl here, and kind of her trapped in this room and dealing with this loss that she had. And that particular spirit showing up and being one of the scarier moments in it. But then this real heart-to-heart she and Lorraine Warren have towards the end of the movie. It's actually a really sweet film. Like, it gets pretty real in dealing with loss and dealing how this character is coping with it. Dealing how this character is kind of getting over her own demons that she's had with this thing that she blames herself over. And I really like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga in these movies, because how they are as a couple in this film and as parents, even their demeanor, how they dress and how they talk, especially Patrick Wilson, is almost kind of like they have almost like family sitcom delivery in a way.
Like, is it like sitcom-y?
Kinda. And I mean that as a compliment, because I like that. I like that.
Hey kids, what did we learn today?
Yeah! No, Vera Farmiga says this in the movie. She goes, well, now you had to learn this the hard way, but, like, and Patrick Wilson practically should have a pipe out of his mouth in this and be, like, in his study reading the paper. They're great in these. Yeah, they are. And I like that they are almost this sitcom family, but they have all this haunted shit in their house that's barely locked away. The keys are like right on his desk. It was fun. It was incredibly entertaining. Like, yeah, I could talk about some story flaws and stuff like that, which it has, sure.
You can't overthink these movies.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of that I'm talking about for the sake of the review. Like, and it's true things about the movie, certainly. But I came out of this movie happy. I came out of this movie relatively uplifted after it. Like, it doesn't end with, like, this big boo jump scare at the camera or anything like that. Or it doesn't want to make you feel depressed when you leave. Which some horror movies do that well, certainly. Of course, plenty of them do. This one, I liked this really bittersweet thing that it had at the end. This actually kind of tender moment between these characters. And it has probably my favorite ending credit sequence in a movie this year.
Is it a spoiler if you tell me?
No, it's not. It's showing, the ending credits of the movie are almost showing these, like, sort of like 70s movie trailer vision of, like, showing a lot of greens on reflections, but black and shadow and some others of scenes that you've seen throughout the movie. And it's playing King Harvest Dancing in the Moonlight, which is, you've won me right there, because that's one of my favorite songs of all time. But the style of the credits, too, like, I sat there still watching it, going like, you know what, I left Curse of La Llorona thinking that they really didn't give a crap. Like, this is just something that's kind of just put out for just kind of boo jump scare reasons.
Right.
This one felt like that they actually really did care here. And I felt that way certainly about the last Annabelle movie as well. And it probably helps that, like, James Wan also had a story credit on this. So maybe he had slightly more of a hand in this than Curse of La Llorona. This, they really did a good job of making some pretty likable characters and just a fun carnival haunted house of a movie. It honestly would have been really cool if this thing came out in, like, October. This is the kind of movie you go to on a Friday night and hope that the theater is packed.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a really good time with this. I enjoyed it. I really had a good time with this movie.
Good. Glad you had fun.
While you were at work.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what else. I can't really add anything to this.
Just bah! I love the part in the movie at the beginning with Patrick, when they first get the doll, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, and the doll's in the backseat of the car. They get pulled over by a cop, and just shines a light in the back seat and sees that sitting there, like, what the hell? And then the doll almost, like, tries, like, possesses this truck to try to hit Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, sorry, I have nothing to add to this movie except for I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a good time.
No, because when we were gonna see yesterday, but I got home and I was like, I don't think I can. I was like at work and I take care of kids, so I was like in the sun for like 3 hours yesterday, and I was like, can we just watch it tomorrow?
Yeah, so we saw 2 movies today.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of like glowy and shiny and
when I did that poll
kind of tan more
over on our Twitter that was like, which one do you predict would be the favorite of the evening? Annabelle came in dead last.
Was that your favorite of all 3, or are you gonna reveal that later?
Honestly, yeah, it is. It was it's a decent time in the theater to go see some killer doll movies.
Oh, right. I saw Chucky, like, you know how they were doing that with Child's Play, like with the Toy Story 4, like they did that with Annabelle too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think he has like
with the poster where he smashes
he did that
the thing.
That's funny.
I want to be the person who accidentally goes into the wrong theater between Annabelle playing and Anna playing. When's the dog gonna show up?
All right, next movie.
Okay.
Oh wait, or this.
You can't rush me, honey. I want to talk about my dolls.
There's 3 movies.
I know. Let me get to it.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Let's get to the super chats that we have here. Future movie actor. Other lost reviews you have. Thor, 30 minutes or less, and Winter Soldier. Yeah, I know. There were some... So this was when we were on Blip. Every now and then we would lose videos over on Blip TV, this hosting site where we used to have all of our videos, and those are 3 of the older midnight screenings. So... something would usually happen where, like, a play link would get lost and I would have to re-upload something on Blip, which on Blip, it was easy to do because on Blip, in order to re-upload something, you didn't have to take down the video. You could just hit replace video, which is something I always wish they had on YouTube. But, other than that, though, I like YouTube way the hell better than Blip. But, so... those 3 videos were something that happened with, and I wasn't able to save them. I don't know if anyone else was able to.
30 minutes or less good?
I didn't see it. This was in the days when like we were all at different movies, so I was at. I don't know what I was at that night. I think Sarah was at 30 minutes or less.
I was curious about it, but it had like a really bad score, so I was like...
I think she liked it. I think.
Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
But who was it? Was that Sarah and Irving maybe were at that? I don't know what I was at that night. But future movie actor. Thoughts on the trailers for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
We did a video on that.
No, we did. We have a trailer review of it. That movie needs to get here like now. Because
I know.
This is what I'm looking forward to the most this summer.
I am so sick of this year with movies.
Yeah.
Like, there's only like 4 movies I really, really actually enjoyed.
Sure.
And like the other ones, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you should watch the trailer review.
Yeah, they show the trailer a lot in front of the movies we go to, and I love it every single time the trailer comes up when we go see movies. Will Dave be future movie actor? Will Dave be back to review The Rise of Skywalker? Also, Madison Eisman from Goosebumps 2 and the new Annabelle was also in Jumanji 2. Oh yeah, that's right. She was in that. She was the popular girl in Welcome to Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I hope so. You know what? Maybe because by then we're thinking we might be living up in Chicago by then.
They're pretty busy. So.
Yeah, but I could see myself making a special trip back so Dave and I could review The Rise of Skywalker.
I know people are sick of me.
No. No, man, some more of these super chats are coming in. Thank you so much, everyone.
Oh, goodness, thank you.
Yeah, scroll back up. Sorry.
Future movie actor, you're on the roll.
I have ideas for the third and final Mamma Mia movie to conclude the story where we find out the father. We could call it Mamma Mia. Now we really know.
The sequel no one asked for.
Mamma Mia 3 Super Trooper 3. Yeah, I loved Mamma Mia too. That, again, another prequel that was way better than the first one. Jack Dyer, hello again. Are you two going to review the Netflix dub of Neon Genesis Evangelion? I don't know what that is.
I've never heard of that.
So, probably not. Maybe. We'll see.
I mean, if we get paid, I'll do it.
Contribute to Patreon. Yeah, submit it for like a review request over at patreon.com/thecinemasnob. Future movie actor. I like 30 minutes or less enough. Only ABBA song from the show that didn't make it into either movie was Under Attack. Have brilliant ideas for that scene. Hey, the more Mamma Mia fan fiction, the better. Hey, I did an episode of Lloyd that could count as Tequila and Bonetti fan fiction. Okay, let's go ahead and thank you for those super chats. We'll get to some other. That was all for now, so any more we'll read after our next review. So let's go ahead and talk about Jim Jarmusch's The Dead Don't Die. Let's show a clip and we'll be right back.
Shouldn't we be telling each other that it's all gonna be okay? That this will all go away like a bad dream?
Gee, Mindy, I'm not sure I can say that.
Please?
You're like grinding your teeth.
It's all gonna be okay.
Oh.
Maybe it'll all just go away.
I was chewing the remains of a cough drop I have in my mouth. You're sitting over there, you go, I can hear you grinding your teeth.
Well,
I'm like,
I was
what?
asking.
No. I'm chewing my...
I was asking you, like, are you grinding your teeth?
Well, hey, look, according to that poll, though, let me go ahead and pop that up again here real quick. According to that poll, this is the one that they predicted that we're going to like the most, is Jim Jarmusch's Dead Don't Die. Jim Jarmusch, excellent director, made movies like Broken Flowers, Stranger Than Paradise, Dead Man, Coffee and Cigarettes, tons of stuff. This has got a great cast too. We got Bill Murray in here. We got Adam Driver. We've got Tilda Swinton is in this movie.
It's a huge
Carol
cast.
Kane, Iggy Pop. You got Tom Waits in there. Plenty of people in this movie. As the poster for the movie says, the largest cast ever disassembled for a zombie film or something like that they put on there.
The trailer looked good to me. Didn't you think so? I thought you said you did.
When I got the trailer for this movie and it started up, I was sitting there thinking, okay, we doing this like quirky comedy take on a zombie movie
like Zombieland
again. Like not exactly new material at this point, like a comedic quirky deconstruction of the zombie film. Like there are more of those kind of zombie movies out now than straightforward zombie movies. So watching at first with the trailer, I was like, okay, is this something we're really doing again? All right, this isn't really fresh. But the more the trailer kept going and it was spotlighting a lot of people in the cast that it had, I'm like, all right, well maybe they can bring something actually fresh here to this kind of zombie movie. Maybe, it could surprise me. And then I see Jim Jarmusch's name on there and I'm like, you know what, okay, like maybe he's got something up his sleeve. Maybe this is gonna maybe this could work. And what did you think, honey? Did you think this film worked?
I don't want to spoil it.
You don't want to spoil the movie?
I mean, do you want me to say my opinion right now?
Go for it, since I talked about Annabelle Comes Home.
I hated this movie. This movie was really bad. It was so pretentious.
You just don't get it, honey.
It was like...
You just don't get it.
It was so pretentious.
Honey,
every single time. It just seems like, oh, clever.
Honey, don't you understand that like, you thought it was clever in the original Dawn of the Dead where the zombies were... when the zombies symbolize, like, consumerism and everything, and what you do in your normal life, that's what they're doing instinctively. In this, oh no, it's way better. In this, they just come out in narration and tell you that that's what it's about.
Yeah, they just say it, like, there's no... It's not subtle. It's just,
honey.
There's, like, a narration from some guy, and he's just saying, oh, so... actually, we are the zombies, not them, kind of thing. And also, you didn't hear this, but I did. When the zombies first come up, they're saying Xanax, Ambien.
Yeah. Instead of brains.
Ambien. And, okay.
Sure.
But there's also, the cast is way too much. Like...
Oh, well, hang on, let's, go by this little by little first.
Well, you told me to take it. I was like, all right, I'll tell you. There's way.
This movie was giving it to us, all right.
There's way too many people in this movie.
No, you just don't understand, honey. When the movie is referencing other things, like Adam Driver referencing Star Wars, Tilda Swinton looking like she, kind of doing things similar to like she does in Doctor Strange, or other things too, like them referencing that they are in a movie and that Jim Jarmusch exists and the script exists. And plus,
did you read the script? No, I didn't read the script.
Plus, as well, like Rosie Perez is on TV as a news reporter named Posey Perez. See, what you don't understand is that it's like this movie is cannibalizing other movies. It's so smart. It's and
this
like
is hipster porn.
It's when they sit there and they say meta jokes like, what was that song that just played? Oh, that was the theme song. What do you think is gonna happen here? Oh, I read the script, so I know what's gonna happen. You read the script? I just got my scenes and I'm friends with Jim. It's like the movie itself is like a slow zombie of a movie, like itself representing like a zombie on autopilot. So clever.
Someone said something. Wes Anderson. It felt like a Wes Anderson movie wannabe.
It didn't feel like that to me.
It did for me. Like, it felt like a wannabe Wes Anderson movie. I mean, it has Tilda Swinton in it. It has Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, yeah.
I mean, it just felt like, oh, we're so clever and hipster and
no, well, it is that. It's very pretentious as shit. This movie, okay, like quirky on crack. I'll go ahead and stop with it. You just don't get it sarcasm I've been doing. This movie's a pile of shit. This movie sucks so much pretentious dick.
I know.
What this movie
I'm
is...
okay with some pretentious movies.
So am I. But like
I like a lot of, I like Lars von Trier movies, and those are pretentious sometimes, or most of the time they are, but
it has something to say about society, honey. That Dawn of the Dead said 40 years ago, and did it way more clever and more subtle than this thing.
I know.
This movie feels
it's like talking down to the audience almost. Like, they're just saying, like, instead of me figuring out what the interpreting it on my own, it just has a narrator just saying,
okay,
like...
it just tells you.
It just tells
you what it's doing.
Yeah, and it's just so... It makes me feel dumb. Like, it's like... Do you think I'm really dumb? Like, I can't interpret this on my own?
From a director who should know better. From a director and people who should know better than this. This feels like amateur hour. This feels like, to me, it's less Wes Anderson, even though it's not that I don't understand that comparison. To me, it's less that and more like a first-year film student who's never seen any zombie comedy. Like, who doesn't know Shaun of the Dead, Zombieland, or even... Undead Nightmare is a way better zombie comedy than this. The video game. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare.
Oh, right.
So, that's a million times funnier and more clever than this. Way more of a blast than this movie. It feels like a first-year film student trying to do something akin to either the Coen brothers or...
Wes Anderson, I would think.
For me, it was more Coen brothers and, like, Jared Hess.
Okay. Yeah, I could see
You
that.
see where I'm going with that?
Like Napoleon Dynamite
Yeah,
guy?
because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
dry.
It's very dry. It's a little bit too dry. Like, I'm okay with dry humor, and I really like dry humor and deadpan humor, but this was, like, too pretentious. Like, it was just... Like, I like Adam Driver a lot, but, like, a lot of his delivery and Bill Murray's delivery was just like, oh, so I guess we're, I think it's zombies.
I think it's got to be zombies. It's The Walking
Ghouls.
Dead. Don't you get it? They're acting more like zombies than the actual zombies.
Zombies. Ghouls,
Ghouls,
I can't do an Adam Driver voice.
No, that's pretty good. Yeah, so it's trying to get by on this very dry humor, like a Jared Hess film, or like some Coen Brothers movie. But in a way, this movie is only an hour and 44 minutes long.
It felt so long.
It could have 20 minutes cut out of it.
We were in the very, very back, because there's only one other person there, so I did check my phone, like, several times.
So did
and
I.
it was okay, because we were in the very back, and
Yeah.
so, I was like, when does this movie end? And it was only like an hour in, and God, I was just, by then I just went on my Facebook, and I was like,
I've done that at bad movies where I sit in the back by myself, and like,
Yeah.
if there's anyone sitting like in front or in peripherals or anything like that around me, I don't pull out my phone. There was one other person in the theater, and they were in the very front by the rails. We were all the way in the back, so we were like, after a while, we're like, Jesus Christ, how much more of this movie is left?
Yeah, this movie was terrible.
It could easily have... There are way too many characters in this movie.
I was saying that earlier. There's, like, Selena Gomez, there's Steve Buscemi, and he has a hat that says, Make America White Again.
It's a MAGA hat, but it says Make America White Again.
And that was kind of funny. Like, I did have a few chuckles in the beginning. But then it kept going, and I was like, okay.
Well, yeah, because...
We're being introduced to, like, 20 different characters.
Yeah, it reached a point, like, Tilda Swinton, who's the samurai mortician. Iggy Pop is a zombie. We've got our main cast there and everything. Like, I have the image of Iggy Pop as the zombie. When it got an hour into this movie, and nothing was happening, I was sitting there going...
there were, like, 0 zombies in this until, like, the last 30 minutes.
I was sitting there, which would be fine if it wasn't, but molasses through the rest of it.
It's fine if there's, like, I don't need to have, like, zombies throughout the whole movie, but
sure.
Yeah, like you said, if it's molasses through, like,
when there's nothing interesting happening or anything like that.
But
and when that was happening,
they are zombies, so that's why it's so boring.
When that was happening, I was sitting there going, this is why it was hard for me to find a picture of a zombie from the movie earlier, because they're barely in the movie. When I put together the title card for this episode, and I used the image of the Carol Kane zombie, which could have been played by anyone. It just happened to be Carol Kane, which is the case with a lot of people in this movie, like Iggy Pop. But, so there are these... It keeps cutting back to, like, these 3 kids in a detention center.
Yeah.
These characters could be completely cut out of this movie. They frequently come back into this film. The Selena Gomez shit could be cut out of this film.
These characters don't do anything to make... for the plot at all. The only characters that need to be in this are the cops, Adam Driver and Bill Murray. Honestly.
Yeah, the cops.
They're the only ones that really need to be in this.
The cops, I guess, like, because
maybe like
the people in the diner, like, because Steve Buscemi kind of tied in with some stuff with Tom Waits and Danny Glover and some things going on in the diner. So, if you're picking just a handful of central characters, like, those I could see. Other characters, like the teens with Selena Gomez, who pull up so that the guy who runs the comic shop can be like, that car's kind of like a Romero movie. Get it? This is such amateur crap. It is.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a film student's movie. It's really... Ugh, I hated this movie.
This is one of those movies like Hunter Killer where it was funny sitting next to you in the movie.
Well, I could be vocal during this or I wasn't very vocal, but
Sure.
I was whispering to you. But there was only one other person there, so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, with whispering and God, I was just kept on saying, is it just me or is this movie a piece of shit? and you're like, yeah. Yeah, this was really bad. You've seen more movies than I have, but this is probably one of my top worst movies
this year.
Yeah, this year.
I don't know if it'll make my bottom 10 because I mean I've seen like, you know, the Unplans of the world and things like that, so I don't.
Yeah, so for you, yeah, it's gonna be different. But
I mean,
for me, this one just makes me angry because of how pretentious it is,
and how it is made by people with talent. It has talent in front of the camera. It has talent behind the camera, but it feels like one of those movies that thinks they're being really clever in its satire only because they don't know 100 other things like it exist.
Right.
It's funny that Steve Buscemi is in this because it feels like it's this older person doing that meme of Buscemi where he's like, "Hey, fellow kids,"
like
and
Ghost World or something.
but more like that meme that he has where he's pretending to be a high school student and it's like, "Hey, my fellow teenagers."
Oh, where he's being like a narc or something.
Isn't that from 30
from.
Rock, maybe?
I don't
But
know.
like, so, or Saturday Night Live, or one of the two. But anyway, like that, where it's like them trying to make this hipster zombie millennial comedy, and
Hey,
it was
millennials
just
not all bad.
yeah, not all.
Hey, you're just an old person.
I am.
You don't get it.
Yeah. That's what I've been telling you. You just didn't get this movie, honey. You don't understand. It's not so much
You're
that...
just an old person that complains about younger generations.
I do.
I mean, there's some millennial humor that I really don't get into, like where it's
Same.
just too, well, obviously, but like for the most part, yeah. I mean, I do fit the mold of a millennial, but there's a lot of humor I just can't get into, like a lot
Like
of
this movie?
like Rick and Morty I can't really get into,
Oh.
or like
I saw the first season of that and I liked it a lot. But I mean, aside from that, like, I mean, this movie, yeah, it's trying to wear its quirk on its sleeves and shit like
it's a
that,
hipster
and like
porn
trying
movie.
to be meta, do a lot of like meta things that you'll see in a lot of comedies, like you mentioned, like that, a lot more
Like Adult
millennial
Swim
style humor,
stuff.
yeah, like. But it's not enough to where the opening credits are playing the song "The Dead Don't Die." They have to play it again 5 minutes
Yeah,
later
Selena
to have Adam Driver say, "That's the theme song," but then also constantly reference it throughout the movie.
Yeah,
It's the only song that plays.
Yeah.
They're constantly stopping the movie to play this song and to say, "That's a great song. I should get that CD. I love this guy. I love that song."
Yeah,
God!
I can buy Selena Gomez loving that song. I love this country song that's like from the 50s or something. Yeah, I don't recommend this at all. Maybe out of out of curiosity, like if you want if you want to see how bad it is, I guess if you want to be bored, but
if you're going to watch a bad movie, don't watch a boring bad movie. Because that's what this is.
Well, if you're curious because of how much we don't like it, I would say, yeah, I guess if you want to waste your money, but...
Don't skip this. Like, it's not... There are 100 deconstruction zombie movies out there you could watch. Going all the way back to Return of the Living Dead. There's no reason to watch this. Like, it's boring. It's slow. It's not funny, it's not exciting, it's not entertaining, it's up its own ass. And aside from that, like, even as a bad movie, it's not entertaining. Like, I couldn't even recommend it as that.
Bored.
If you're gonna watch something just for entertainment value that's a bad movie, watch something like The Intruder to see Dennis Quaid go nuts for 90 minutes.
Yeah,
watch that, not this.
No one goes like ape shit or like goes super into their acting. Like, it's just very too deadpan. And Bill Murray didn't seem to give a shit either. He was just really...
I don't know about that, because he wasn't acting...
Maybe that was how he was directed, but...
Well, yeah, he wasn't acting any different than anybody else. It was all deadpan. It was all dry delivery. Like, he was doing the same thing as every other actor in the movie. He got... In the first 5 minutes, there were a couple belly laughs I had.
I wouldn't say belly laughs. I chuckled.
Yeah, chuckle. Like, it wasn't... It was...
There were some... Yeah, like... But I didn't realize that was going to be the whole thing. Like,
Sure.
where they were just like... because there were some jokes and they just kind of delivered it very dryly, and I was like, oh, that's pretty funny, huh? But then the whole movie was like that, and God, this is really annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't expect this image I'm showing right here to really, really kind of sum up what this movie is. Not at all. I hated this movie. I couldn't stand this film.
Anyways.
Anywho, I think
I'm done talking about this movie.
You don't want to talk more about it?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other super chats we have here. Again, thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
It's fun to read these. Okay. Sorry, just tuned in. This is from Onaventi. Sorry, just tuned in. My girlfriend and I weren't too impressed with the previous Annabelle film. Is this one more or the same or worth checking out? We're big horror fans. I love your work. No, I highly recommend it. I had a blast at it. It's, I'll say this about the Annabelle movies. It's like they do have some different tones throughout the three of them. The second one has a different look and feel to it than the first one does. This one has a different feel to it than even those two do, and the second one as well. I really enjoyed it. A future movie actor, Under Attack is a great song, isn't it? It is.
I don't know
It's an ABBA song. I mean, I love ABBA.
I've probably heard it. But...
Lizzie Luna. Have either of you ever seen Only Lovers Left Alive, another Jim Jarmusch movie? P.S. My mom is thrilled your new movie releases on her birthday.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, check that out, by the way. We have the trailer up for another Cinema Snob movie, so check that out. That's over on our channel right now. We made that public a couple days ago, so if you haven't seen the trailer for our new movie, please give it a watch.
Yes, please.
We really love this movie a lot, so we really hope that people dig the trailer and also dig the movie as well. I haven't seen Only Lovers Left Alive. I haven't seen all of his movies. I've never heard of that. I've seen a handful, but that one I haven't seen. Michael Eldridge. Hey, Brad, love your work. Have you seen Count Yorga? I haven't, sorry.
I've never heard of that.
I feel bad when someone contributes to the super chat to ask me about a movie I haven't seen. Nope! Mr. Roboto. It's like a Wes Anderson movie. It's very deadpan. Yeah, it's deadpan, but not amusingly so. Not clever.
It's not whimsical or
no. It's deadpan, but like in a way that like they're acting like they just got out of a coma, or they've just been they took
had a lobotomy.
They took too much Z-Quil and they way overslept. And, they kind of have that oversleep headache, and they're not quite right yet. That's more so what it is. Future movie actor. I don't know if I'd say I hate Kick-Ass 2, but it really did piss me off. A huge disappointment after how great the first one was. You felt my pain. I don't remember if that movie pissed me off. Maybe it did. It's been a while since I've seen.
I fucking hate this movie.
It wasn't very good. I liked the first Kick-Ass. The second one was pretty bad, but I liked Jim Carrey a lot in it. But he's barely in it though. If I remember right, like he's maybe only in about 15-20 minutes of the movie. He was a lot of fun in the film, but everything else was not good. I remember that one not being very good. I can't remember if I raged about it or not, but given the choice, I'd rather watch it than The Dead Don't Die. Okay. Shall we go ahead and get to our last one here? This is for Danny Boyle's new movie. Let's take a look at a clip right now for Yesterday.
Now I long for yesterday.
When did you write that?
I didn't write it. Paul McCartney wrote it. The Beatles.
Who?
John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles. It's one of the greatest songs ever written.
Well, it's not Coldplay. It's not Fix You.
No, don't sing, honey.
Oh, I forgot we were live. I forgot the mic is still on.
No, yeah. We'll end up getting taken down for copyright.
Tell you something.
We'll get hit with copyright on there. Careful, we might actually.
Oh, really?
Maybe if you sing the whole song.
Oh, I'm not gonna. Why would I sing the whole song?
Like I just wait here for 2 minutes. Anyway, you know what was interesting? When I put up, and I think you can even see a little bit of this in when I put up the still shot of the chat earlier. When I posted on Twitter and over on our comments section, or community section on YouTube, where we put up blog posts and things, that these were the 3 movies we were going to be reviewing. Like, this was a movie, like, people were just, like, raging about in the comments.
Really?
But, like, oh my god, it looks so terrible. Ugh. Oh, god, this movie makes no sense. This is gonna be terrible.
it doesn't make sense.
This makes no sense. He wouldn't be popular today if he did that. This movie looks awful. Just Oscar bait garbage. Ugh. I was looking at that going, first of all, that is not even the worst movie I saw tonight, let alone in theaters right now. Have you seen Men in Black International and some of the crap that's playing right now?
I mean, I guess it's a little Oscar baity, but it's...
If it was Oscar baity, it'd be out in November.
It's... Yeah, of course it doesn't make sense. Why... Well, how could you make a plot like this make sense?
Perfect sense. One day, all the lights go out all over the world, and then we have entered this alternate universe in which the Beatles no longer exist. So this guy, Jack, played by Himesh Patel, I believe is his name, decides to do the Beatles songs himself. So he becomes very popular, like, trying to remember all the Beatles lyrics and everything, and himself becomes a singing sensation doing all of the Beatles songs, and becoming very famous because of this, because he himself is like a struggling musician, and his own songs really aren't doing it for him. His manager is Lily James. He's been trying to do his own thing for a while, and it's not working, so now that the Beatles aren't a thing anymore, hey, you know, why not? I'll sing some of these.
I would do that too.
Sure, yeah. It's an interesting idea for a movie.
No, it's a good idea. Like, it's interesting.
I've seen that joke before in movies. Like, I remember on Lost, there was a season of Lost where they went back.
The Beatles don't exist.
No. They, not that it would surprise me if something like that happened on Lost, but, like, there's a season on Lost where they're back in the 1970s, and Hurley is sitting there writing, and they're like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, I'm writing Empire Strikes Back. It hasn't been made yet.
Yeah, I would do that.
Like, so, it's a joke I've seen in other movies, in plenty of other movies before. It's an interesting idea for a movie to, like, have this alternate universe where what happens when you become a celebrity doing somebody else's creativity, and also taking a look at how a lot of these songs have stood the test of time, to where if they're new in 2019, will it become as popular as it was back in the 1960s. I also like how they touch on that there's a lot of other things that also don't exist in this universe, like Coca-Cola and cigarettes. Harry Potter, cigarettes, and I can't remember what else, but that was kind of fun to see.
I was like, that's kind of scary though. If like you woke up and you there's a few things that don't exist. I feel like I'd be going mad or something.
I wouldn't. Like, I would be like, what else could I do to make myself rich?
That's true. But I can't sing, so I don't know. I guess I would write the songs and hire someone.
I know, I want this same movie, but instead of the Beatles, it's like Whitesnake. Like, say, here I go again! That is beautiful!
No. I don't know how.
I love Whitesnake. I'd watch the hell out of that movie.
I love
Is love.
The Rolling Stones still exist.
The Rolling Stones exist in this universe, yeah. Like, he makes a mistake and accidentally sings one of the Beatles songs that are cover songs. Oh crap, I'm being sued. What do you mean Twist and Shout was something else?
Yeah.
Like, so that would kind of go in line, because they got sued by, or at least George did, was it the Shirelles, He's So Fine, that's...
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because My Sweet Lord is, like, a rip-off of, He's So Fine.
Okay.
That would have been... I would have liked to have... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You're fine.
Nothing, I was testing you. That would have been an interesting way to go with the movie if, like, his career started, like, paralleling exactly, like, the Beatles, other than
like going through, like, a psychedelic stage.
Yeah, like this, because it doesn't do that.
I was kind of
like,
curious if they were going to do that, if they were going to start with, like, because the way, I think Across the Universe kind of did that, where it was, like, early Beatles, and then it went to, like, kind of, like, more of the psychedelic ones, and then the later songs. I'm pretty sure that's what it did.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if it did that, but it doesn't.
No, it's more so, like, he just comes up with these songs and sings them, like...
Yeah, it doesn't start with, like, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and
No.
Please Please Me, and Twist and Shout.
That would have been...
But it doesn't, like, do that, like, start from the beginning, early Beatles into, like, yeah, the psychedelic one, and then the...
It's like we said, like, it's a good premise for a movie. It is. And Danny Boyle...
The cinematography is
It's
great
great.
in this.
Because, I mean, it's a Danny Boyle film, so it certainly looks good. The acting is good.
Like, I love his style when it comes to cinematography.
Yeah.
I love it. The main character kind of annoyed me sometimes, but Lily James I really liked.
She was very good.
She was really good.
I liked, and she's hit or miss with me in movies. More so miss, to be perfectly honest. But
like
no,
what?
not Lily James. Lily James I like. I did like Kate McKinnon in this.
She was actually really good in this. She was kind of funny too.
No, she was. I like, and yeah, she is still very Kate McKinnon in this movie. And in some of her other movies, like, any problem I would have would be because, like, there's no context for how weird you are. You're just being weird.
Right.
Like, in
weird
this,
for being weird.
in this, she is in this, but in this, she's playing a really eccentric Hollywood agent.
Yeah, like
it makes sense she's acting like this.
She's not being, like, over the top too much.
No, she's being BB from Frasier.
Oh, yeah. That's a good comparison. Yeah, she is. Yeah, like, this movie was packed, too. When we went, I think I was the youngest person in that theater, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
and the woman next to me, she was like, kept on like tapping on my arm. She's like, "Oh my god, it's so good!" Like during the movie, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know you," but
what'd you have done if it was that big fat guy who was like eating meat in Gertz's screening of 50 Shades?
I think I would ask to change seats with you.
I'll sit next to the meat guy. Why? Just because you're a vegetarian?
Yeah, that's why. I just don't want some strange man touching my arm. But yeah, she just kept on being like, "Oh my god, it's so good." I don't know if there's a spoiler.
You know what? I'm actually gonna get to the ending in a little bit.
No, not the ending.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Let's save that. But
okay, because that was one of the scenes where she was like, "Oh," she started.
There's a scene where there's
crying.
where that caused a lot of tears in the crowd.
I did cry.
No, yeah, certainly.
Did you cry?
No, but
I have more attachment to the Beatles than you do, though.
Sure, I am a Rolling Stones guy. I mean, if we're talking between those two, but my favorite band's the Bee Gees, but I do love the Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones are one of my favorite bands, and I like the Beatles a lot. Don't get me wrong, but no, this is a movie that it's likable. It's
cheesy.
Yeah, and
corny.
You know what?
It's an old person movie.
There's that audience. Oh yeah, it was mostly old people in that audience, and it was packed. And they put it in one of the smaller theaters, and
people would come in like during the trailers, like, huh?
Where do we sit? And they'd have to sit in the front, like elderly people sitting in the front.
Dude, just come on time.
Yeah. So like, and that's a perfect audience for this. It's a very crowd pleasing audience for an older audience, certainly. Now, I've been in a lot of movies before that are packed with old people, so I'm just glad, like, whenever I get a little scared sometimes when that happens, as if, like, a stealth Pure Flix movie is gonna happen in front of my eyes. But no, like, I can't help it. Most of the time I'm at a movie where it's primarily a very old audience. It's a Pure Flix movie, or something like it, like the Trump Prophecy.
It didn't surprise me that this was packed with old people.
No, because
I was kind of guessing it would be.
If you're that audience and you like that kind of movie, certainly this is made for that, and it works as that. I don't think the movie does enough clever things that it could. Like, because it does have a lot of potential to be clever and maybe show this guy, like you said, do his life kind of paralleling them a little bit throughout the different kind of genres and phases that they had. And really, what you get out of this movie is what you see in the trailer.
Yeah.
If it really is, when I left this movie, I was like, yeah, okay. That's about what I thought it would be from how it looked. So honestly, whatever reaction you had from the trailer of this movie is probably going to be how you feel about the movie. Because it does sell it well. It sells it to the point to where there was one surprising thing about it. And
are you talking about that one scene?
Not quite. But there's one thing that it didn't do, and I was glad that it didn't. And there's no other way for me to talk about this without getting into spoilers. So if
curious what you're talking about.
If you don't want this movie spoiled, really, maybe hold off here for a little bit, because there's no other way for me to talk about this. Throughout a lot of this movie, I was thinking it was going to end one way, and when it didn't, I was honestly really, really pleased. Now, when this event happens, when this worldwide blackout happens that seems to cause the Earth to go into this parallel universe where all these things doesn't exist, what happens at that same time is Jack, the main character, gets hit by like a trolley car or something.
Yeah, like a bus or something.
Yeah, and flies back, and he's in the hospital. When this happened, I was sitting there going like, I bet I know how this is gonna end. I'll bet like all this is gonna happen, and he's gonna wake up in the hospital towards the end of the movie because he had a head injury or something like that, and then it's like. And then it does the ending from A Christmas Carol. I don't know. But, like, so I was thinking through a lot of it, like, all right, how much longer till we kind of get to this cliche that I've seen in a bunch of movies? One thing that I honestly respect this movie for is that it doesn't do that. Like, when this parallel universe happens, it stays there.
Yeah.
Like, the Beatles don't exist anymore. Well, as a band.
Okay.
And all these other things, Coca-Cola, cigarettes, and Harry Potter, and all this stuff. So while I respected that about the movie's ending, it does wrap things up a little neat at the end.
Yeah, he gets the girl, and
Well, that I expected, certainly, but even the way that his stardom is wrapped up, a couple things. One, he does a thing where it's like, this radio or this music empire that you're belonging to is going to sue your ass off because of one particular thing that he does. Also, like, you are going to be buried in legal shit after this one thing. Another thing, too, is that so it does wrap, like, he does kind of come clean about everything that's happened, and then his celebrity sort of disappears after a while, and I'm like, it wraps it up nice at the end to give it this really kind of likable, happy
it's a sweet
ending.
movie. I don't want to overthink it. It's
No,
already a universe that, like, okay, this is happening. I'm not gonna overthink, like.
But if you're crediting these songs to these people,
but no one knows
like,
who those people are, though.
I know, so I'm like, this would really just kind of confuse a lot of people and think that you're insane.
Yeah. I mean, if I was Lily James, I would think he was insane.
Yeah, like, they're just gonna think you're crazy, really. It's not gonna make your celebrity go away by any stretch. Like, you're still going to be the person who is known for these songs. It opens up a lot of questions at the end, to be perfectly honest.
I'm not gonna overthink it, though, but
sure.
I really wish I could talk about that one scene that did
No,
make me
go
cry.
ahead. We've already spoiled a lot about the movie, so go ahead.
There is if you don't want to hear it, just pause or turn off the mute it or something. But there is a scene with John Lennon. I mean, it's not really John Lennon, but
I almost leaned it when the audience went, and you did the same thing.
I did the same thing.
I was this close to leaning over to you and going, it's not really him.
It was a look like, and it looked a lot like him.
Yeah, he looks like if John Lennon was
like
78.
when he was
78.
Yeah. And I did cry. Like, and the woman next to me that I was talking about earlier, she was like, "Oh," and I was, "Oh, yeah." That did make me cry because I do like John Lennon, even though he's kind of a monster. But he had issues.
Sure.
I mean, my favorite. I think the first question I asked you when we were dating was, "Who's your favorite Beatle?"
Oh, Ringo Starr.
Ringo's my favorite, but John Lennon's a close second. But this movie, can I talk about?
Oh, well, just to wrap things up, at least the review portion of it. No, that scene was certainly sweet, and it did a lot of things right in that regard, where it kind of answers, at least in that particular case, well, like, what happened to these people in this
still exist.
universe.
They just didn't
now.
Become a band.
It answers that. It also shows that there are other people who do also remember the Beatles like he does.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I like that instead of being outraged about this, they're actually glad that this guy who has musical talent, and his covers are good that he's singing, this guy who has musical talent is actually putting a lot of this music out there for people, and they're all having a laugh about some of the lyrics that he got wrong and messed up and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, so that was... And it does do some cool things about showing how this like modern music industry is trying to change Beatles music, Beatles albums, album covers, album titles in this modern age we're in. It was doing some kind of cool stuff with that was kind of funny, and there was some good satire there. I think that the most clever thing about the movie is its plot versus it doesn't do its full potential necessarily. Yeah. But it's still safe. A likable movie. Yeah, it's a safe film.
It's for an old people. The jokes are cheesy. They don't cover a lot of... Like, they did kind of tease Strawberry Fields, but they didn't really sing it.
Well, it's still wall-to-wall Beatles music in this movie.
I know, but that's like my favorite Beatles song, and I was really hoping they were going to sing it, but they didn't.
Yeah, so like... No, I was watching it going like, it's a cute film.
It's cute.
Like it's got some laughs. The acting's good.
I would watch it with my grandma and my mom.
The direction's good. For like an older audience, certainly it's worth going out to theaters to check out. Overall, you'd probably be good just checking this out on Netflix or something. But I enjoyed it. I was never sitting there miserable or anything like that, or annoyed.
Like this Christmas, if you're visiting family and your parents, like this would be the movie I would put on.
Yeah.
It's definitely to watch with a family. Like, it's very safe. It's cute. It's the Beatles. Like almost everyone I know likes the Beatles at least a little. I love the Beatles. Mm-hmm. It's like one of my favorite bands.
Sure.
Can I?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. What I wanted to say is that okay, so this is kind of hard for me. My dad took his own life not that long ago, and this was his favorite band, the Beatles, and I just kind of want to spread awareness and suicide prevention. Mm-hmm. And I know he would like it if I did this, and it's really important to me that people actually get help and lower the stigma of depression.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of awkward subject, but
no.
I think it's it hurts everyone. Mm-hmm. Not just yourself, but it hurts people you love. And if he got help earlier, I think he would have been okay. But
and your mom's going to this too, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And especially like on the day of my dad's funeral, we did have someone almost swat us, and so.
Oh yeah.
And saying that Brad was about to take his own life.
Yeah, so, we almost got. There was a swatting.
And that was the day of my dad's funeral, and when I texted the person that did this kind of, they said I was a liar, and so I just want to make that clear. So
yeah.
It's really awkward for me to talk about this, especially on the internet, but I think it's important for people to get help, and let's not stigmatize mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry if I made things too real, but
no,
the
it's
only
okay.
reason the way I said this is because this movie would have meant a lot for my dad, and I'm really sad you didn't get to see it.
You were, after the movie, you were wondering if he'd like it, because you used to talk about him being a Beatles purist.
He's a purist.
Like that.
I think he would have.
Yeah, I know other Beatles purists as well. My cousin Bobby Buford, and
yeah, my
and
dad
they would.
My dad wouldn't like Across the Universe. He didn't want to
or
see
Sergeant
it.
Pepper's
or
Lonely
Sergeant
Hearts Club
Pepper's.
Band.
No.
That's my shit. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I'll just answer this. My dad's favorite song. I think it was. I know his favorite album was Abbey Road, but. Anyways.
What's your favorite Beatles song?
Strawberry Fields.
Oh, Strawberry Fields.
Yeah. What's yours?
Probably Don't Let Me Down.
Really?
Yeah.
What about was it A Day in the Life?
Oh, I like that one a lot. Yeah.
You know that Ringo song, where he's like the bells.
Yeah.
I love that song. He just like goes batshit insane.
I need to show you like a Blind Man sometime where Ringo stars the bad guy in a spaghetti western.
Yeah. Anyway, should we do
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for everyone for listening.
Yeah.
But if you are having issues with mental illness, please get help. I know it's hard, but it's important not just for you, but it's important for everyone.
And as much as the internet has like certainly a negative stigma to it, there's also great things about it as well, and one of those things is what you were talking about now, especially in regards to what happened, and certainly how important like a movie like this would be to him, and how music was as well. The internet is also a really good communication tool. It's a good place for people to come together about issues like this and spread more.
As long as their issues are actually something worth talking about, not something stupid like if people know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you know already, but as long as it's a real issue instead of like changing something. Because, you know what, that honestly fucked with me a lot when I lost my dad. And I know I shouldn't be talking about that much.
No, no.
But,
believe me,
you know
talk
what,
about
people calling me a
want.
liar when I texted a certain someone on the day of my dad's funeral because someone swatted us, or attempted to.
Yeah.
And then calling me a liar on Twitter. Fuck you. Sorry.
Calling us a liar online, too.
Yep.
No, like, yeah, I mean,
Fuck
the internet
you know
can
who
also
you are.
The internet can also be a very, very toxic place as well, and
Yeah.
it can be weaponized. It can be weaponized horribly.
By the way, it's not a guy, it's a woman, and I'm pretty sure they know who they are. And they know what I'm talking about. So fuck you.
No, well, yeah, no, I agree, but I will do what the chat says and give you a hug afterwards. I wasn't planning on it. But now that the chat is
I just wanted to give my side of the story. I don't have Twitter, and whatever the fuck that person said is lies, and I'm the one that did those things, and God, I'm well worked up. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's okay.
Okay,
It's
I'll
okay,
stop.
honey.
I'll stop.
No, it's okay. It's been a hard year.
It's been a fucking hard year.
It's been a very, very hard year. And I wish that I'm glad I got to know your dad as much as I did in the brief time that I knew him.
I mean,
I loved hanging out with your dad.
He was a very depressed person. He's been my whole life. And he didn't get help because of the stigma of depression, and also the security clearance. He was in the military and in intelligence, and he attempted suicide several times, and he finally did it. It didn't surprise me, but when he finally got help, it was just too late.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, while, you know, you could certainly see that in your dad, totally, but he was still fun to talk to. He was still fun to hang out with. I'm glad I at least got a few fun stories from knowing him.
He was definitely something.
Your dad I really liked talking to your dad. Your dad would crack me up. Your dad would, I never really knew quite what he would say in certain situations, but I admired that about him.
He's awkward as fuck.
I didn't think in never a point was I ever sitting there thinking that in a bad way. I was always thinking, like, this is a pretty entertaining dude.
Anyways, we should do
Super chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go ahead.
Anyways, thanks everyone for listening to my rant. That's been on my chest for like the past 8 months. And so I'm so glad I got it out.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of you, honey. I love you very much.
I love you too.
The chat does too. Except for that guy. No, I'm kidding. Okay, let's see. Kick-Ass 2 talked about that. Mr. Mixed Pick. I just got here, so maybe you mentioned this, but what is your overall opinion of Jim Jarmusch? I liked,
You like most of his movies, though.
the ones I've seen, yeah. Dead Man, Coffee and Cigarettes, Stranger Than Paradise. Broken Flowers was really good. But I haven't seen every single one of his movies, just a handful. Future movie actor, sorry for your loss.
Thanks.
Already knew you lost your dad. My condolences.
Thank you. You've been donating a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Very fond of Ticket to Ride, Penny Lane, and Something. I hope he doesn't mean the song. Just more like and something.
And
else.
I love Something.
Really think of what the title is necessarily.
I love Something. That's like one of my favorite songs. But Strawberry Fields still is my number one.
Mm-hmm.
No, is that it?
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like that's it.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. I know I normally don't burst out in emotion like that, but I think it's been well overdue for me to talk about it.
No, I'm glad that you could. I'm glad you could talk about all that stuff and get all that stuff out that you've kind of been holding.
Well, I wanted to talk about like suicide prevention, but also about everything that's been going on. So
sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. Let's see.
Yes, I mean the song.
Oh, well, thank you. We assumed you meant the song. You didn't have... I mean, thanks for the extra donation. So, all right. Please subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/Stone Gremlin Productions. Follow us on Twitter at the Cinema Snob, and check out the trailer for another Cinema Snob movie as well. We're going to be having movie reviews next week, probably on Wednesday, for Midsummer, and Spider-Man comes out as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.